Well, this is a little bit of a sad blog, not one I was expecting to do, but that's life sometimes. I am going to be talking about my very good friend, one of my oldest friends, both literally in age and in time of knowing him, Peter Heinecke, who unfortunately passed away a few days ago. He was born in 1936 and lived until 2021, so that's pretty good going. It was only a few months ago that I went round to his house because I hadn't heard from him for a while. Usually I get a phone call here or there, or an email or a Facebook message or something, and I hadn't heard from him for a few weeks and I was a bit worried. And I turned up at his house and he was having some work done by his friend Stuart, who was also there. And I went, "How you doing? I haven't seen you." And he went, in the only way that he could do, he kind of went, "You thought I was dead, didn't you?" And I went, "Well, it did worry." He said, "I'm not dead yet. Don't worry, you'll know when I am." And unfortunately today, that day has come. And it's really sad. I was, quite a lot of tears earlier about it, to be honest. He's a very important person in my life. He was a history teacher first, and then went on to be a librarian. I met him in probably 1990 at Colfe School in Leigh. He was our school librarian. And for various reasons, which I will do a blog about school days because there's so much to say about that place, but I'm not going to say anything about that now, other than the fact that for various reasons I kind of was rejected from various places I wanted to be, like the computer room at school and other bits and pieces, and I found a solace in the school library having computers in there, and I could sit and code and kind of get away from people. And there are a few people that he kind of took under his wing and helped get through school, when I think without him we would have kind of lost the plot or dropped out or been, dare I say it, heavily bullied or something like that. And we kind of avoided that because we had our own little place to go, and and it was different times back then. Kids could go in his office and smoke and drink alcohol at lunchtime, which was not always the most normal thing, but my school was not very normal, but people did. In fact, I remember one kid getting so drunk at lunchtime that he went to the toilet and pulled the chain of the cistern, and the cistern came down and flooded everything like that, and we had to get the maintenance people in. And then after that, every month we awarded an award to the most stupid person of that month, and it was named after this kid that I'm not going to mention by name, but that was quite fun. I remember when they had the first CD-ROM drive in the library. I mean, this is how far back we're going, kind of maybe 1994, 1995. They got their first CD-ROM to be able to play CDs, not audio CDs, but be able to things like Encyclopedia Britannica and stuff like that they had for the library. And Phil Cummins, who's the head of physics, and Linda Anthony, who was the IT technician for the school, came down to try and install the CD-ROM driver, and they'd taken some time and couldn't get the CD-ROM drive to work. And I knew how to do it, and I made a bet with him. I said, "I can get that working in 2 minutes." And he said, "All right, it's a bet." And I went, "What are we betting?" And it ended up, so I was 15, it ended up that the bet was that I'd have to do a load of work for him if I couldn't do it, and he'd have to take me and my mate Dave Phillips to the pub after school on Friday and buy all our drinks all night if I got it working out of the school sort of petty cash. And I won the bet, and he took us out and we got smashed, and my mum and dad prepared dinner for when we got back. He drove me and Dave back home after we went out and got drunk. And I went in the house and vomited everywhere from what I remember. And my mum and dad found it all very funny, and we had a bolognese. And that's the kind of teacher he was. He was kind of cool, fun to be around. believed in us as well. I remember at 13 years old, he had me in over the Easter holidays to write a bit of software. When he'd get new books into the library, he'd want to basically put them all in a thing, and then via the Dewey number, which was a numbering system that libraries, maybe they still do use it, but back in the day they used to use it to categorise books and whatever, and it would sort them into a certain order and then print off the lists of all the new books for the syllabus for each department in the school and whatever. And I'd write a little bit of software on PC for him to be able to do that and input all the books, and he paid me for that. I think he paid me like £40 or something over an Easter holiday in 1993, which at the time was a huge amount of money. And I'd just hang out after school and do programming and read stuff, and he'd give me a lift home because I hated getting the bus and I was kind of nervous and whatever of doing that. So it was quite nice to just have somewhere to hang out and do some work and be geeky. And then he'd give me a lift home and come in, and made friends with my parents as well. And he was just like a family friend for years, and a real someone that just gave me a place to exist in what otherwise would have been a total hellhole. There's many people that I know share a lot of the similar feelings. I don't want to speak for them, but I know people that were hanging around at the time that he also helped in similar ways. I would say James Cronin, Tim Danson, just to name two, Matt Dixon. I remember he always spoke very fondly of Matt Dixon, so Matt, if you're watching this, get in touch, mate. Matt was there the night his mum died, and actually went to the hospital with him because he got that, and Matt was a very kind and caring person. And so it really was like a little family, and he could sometimes tell the kids that needed a bit of a place to go and escape, and he was just a wonderful man. And then after I left school, we were always in touch. I'd see him after I left school, and in my early 20s sometime, he started just coming round at Christmas. I think it was when I moved Christmas from my parents' place, which was always a little bit of a disaster, to my house, because I was obviously moved out and living somewhere. I could have Christmas at my place, and he would always come round, be part of the family, and 2020 was one of the first years that obviously we couldn't have him round for Christmas. I couldn't even have my mum round for Christmas, but I still cooked the Christmas meal and took it round to him in the morning, which was nice. So I still saw him on Christmas Day, and I always take him out for his birthday, 29th of June 1936, and I remember that because the old school library computer password was 29636P, which was his date of birth, followed by P for Peter. So again, he just a huge influence on my life. Someone that was kind, intelligent, tell stories, kind of obsessive over doing certain research and details, and not judgmental at all. Bit old school in places, but nothing weird about him. He wasn't. He was a real calming influence in a sea of craziness at that school. And it's a few weeks ago. No, it wasn't a few weeks. It was only a few days ago, probably last week, that I got an email from him. I'd replied to an email, and he replied back saying when I finished the tour, we'd meet up and hopefully be able to come around for Christmas. I can't remember the exact wording of the email, but we were chatting and looking forward to doing stuff. And I said, oh, well, next time I have a day off or whatever, or a bit of time, I'll give you a call. And that time never came. So yeah, massively important person in my life. He made it to 85. He smoked like a chimney until I'd imagine the day he died, or at least a couple of days before. very kind-hearted. Even when I went round to him not that long ago, you know, just before the tour, he was buying flowers for his neighbours that had helped stuff out, and it's like, Dave, go to the flower shop and, you know, can you get some flowers for the neighbours and drop them round and whatever, because they were helping him out. And, you know, such a lovely man. Simple tastes, you know, nothing fancy when we went out for food. It was just pub meal, fish and chips, you know. Just, you know, sense of humour. I'm going to miss him. I haven't really got anything else to say. I'm sure I'll think of other stories and I'll probably tell some of them when I do the school blog. But for now, shocked is a word. I mean, I know at his age and with his health, it was going to happen sooner or later. But, you know, it would have been nice to get through the tour and be able to see him one last time. But alas, that's not the way it's going to be. Anyway, I love you, Pete. You were one of the best, oldest friends that a person could ever have. You really helped me through school, the craziness of school, and became a lifelong family friend. And I'm going to miss you immensely. If anyone watching this knows him, wants to write a comment underneath about him, then, you know, feel free. And if you want to get in touch with me, to find out when his funeral is going to be, because his niece said that she's going to let me know when the funeral is, which they're expecting to be in the new year because of backlogs and whatever. So please get in contact with me and I'll let you know, and we'll make sure he has a wonderful send-off, because he deserves so much for everything he's done. Anyway, I hope I didn't ramble too much in that, but that's my feeling. Peter Heinecke, 1936 to 2021. Rest in peace, mate.